When I think of diabetics who are stuck, who are not getting results, and they've been there for years, they've been taking metformin, they've been taking insulin, they've been trying the diets, but they're stuck and they're battling the pain of change versus the pain of complacency. I want to share with you 3 stories. I've got a few talking points here on my notepad, and I'm going to share 3 stories from people that I've spoken to. I'm also going to share with you why I believe medication holds you back and the mind sets that hold you back. I'm also going to share with you a little bit about King Solomon and what I've been doing to get past the strongholds in the mind that eliminate any sense of progress, because that's what I believe it is. I believe that they are these strongholds that the devil meticulously, he lays bricks and he cements, and he lays another brick and he cements, and year by year, day by day, he builds these castle walls that prevent you from seeing where you want to go, and they prevent you from walking the path that you wish to take. So I've got a cup of coffee and I've got some notes, and we're going to talk. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Benjamin Green. I'm a diabetic health coach. My first client ever was my father, and I've been helping men shred 2 to 3 pounds of body weight per week and get off of diabetic medication in 90 days or less. I normally help guys with their blood sugar, with their blood pressure, and their HbA1c, as well as their weight, losing weight, and building muscle. I'm on the personal mission of helping 10,000 Christian men beat diabetes with holy health. But I want to share with you the first story. I was speaking to this gentleman quite recently, and I opened up the conversation with a question, and he ended up unraveling a bit about his backstory. He shared with me his journey, and where it started was years ago. He had been training, he was a gym freak, he was getting results, he was lean, he was mean, and he's had diabetes and battled obesity for decades. I think he said it's been about 20 years. And it's a common occurrence for me to hear that guys were getting progress, but then COVID hit. Maybe they lost a job, maybe they were stressed about their home, or stressed about their health, stressed about their family, stressed about the world and the economy and the landscape. And he gave me a similar excuse. He said, you know what, I was consistent, I was getting results up until COVID. And that's when I got diagnosed with chronic kidney disease. So he now has type 2 diabetes and chronic kidney disease. And he is on 4 different medications for this. And we dove a little bit deeper. I wanted to understand what's been challenging about this and what the goal really is. And what's been challenging for him is not knowing where to start, not knowing how to start. He hasn't trained in the gym in 3 years, and his doctor tells him that he needs to drop his protein intake because of his kidney disease. But there's a problem there, because you need protein to support muscle maintenance and muscle growth. And if you're a diabetic and you don't have muscle, you're going to struggle, because muscle eats blood sugar. And if it's just sitting in your blood because you don't have enough muscle to soak it all up, it's going to damage your organs further. And then you're going to need to take more medication. And this is the brutal reality. It's like these guys get stuck in these spirals of conflicting advice that means that the path is unclear. And when the path is unclear, they either take no action or they take action that shoots themselves in the foot. And him and I are going to speak again soon. We actually have a call, not tomorrow, but the next day, because he is a providing man. He works in the oil fields, and he's working hard to get his family out of financial debt and to set them up, especially the young ones as they go into college and start growing up. But the second story was also very, very similar. You know, this guy, he was an immigrant and he came to America and he set up this catering business and he's doing pretty well. And he was in a car accident. And when he was in a car accident, they x-rayed him to see any damage. And what they found was a tumor on his kidney. And a similar situation is played out now where he needs to go for dialysis checkups and he's taking metformin. But fortunately, he has lost some weight because he's tried biblical fasting and he's been trying to keep things low carb. But now he's at the point where he's plateaued. He's no longer getting results. He's still over 300 pounds. He wants to get the weight off and he wants to get off medication so that he can live a longer life for his daughter. And yesterday, I met up with a friend, and my friend's doing very well for himself. It's actually my brother's friend, but we're friends through, no, we're friends just through common circle. And he's a videographer here in Cape Town, South Africa. And he does his business full time. He's got a personal brand, he's got regular clients, he's got incredible results and testimonials and content that he puts out. And he wanted to just meet up and talk about content and talk about coaching and talk about all these things. So we met for breakfast and he got a steak with eggs and I got poached eggs with spinach and cheddar cheese and we had some coffee. He got a smoothie and we actually bumped into his dad. His dad was there at the mall busy shopping. And he asked like, "Oh, Dad, what you doing this side?" And he's like, No, we came this side because your mom is here for her checkup." And his mom has got also kidney dialysis. And we put our bodies under so much stress because the path is unclear. We go through all of this pain, all of these medications, all of these costs and bills and doctor's appointments, 4 hours per week sitting in a dialysis office because the path is unclear. And I saw his mom and she recognized me, which is very sweet because I think I've only ever seen her like once. Okay. So it's very sweet that she recognized me. The dad didn't. And I said, how are you doing? And she's managing. They're very excited. They're actually moving away from where they stay towards the coast to get a bit of a better house. But I could see that there was a discoloration on her skin. I could see that he was fighting. I could see that. And I could see that there was, a bit of hopelessness in her eyes, but also a smile on her face that was telling me that she was still looking to fight. But now, why is it that the three people that I've mentioned, why is it that they stay stuck? Why is it that they are on medication for years? Why is it that they have diabetes for decades? Well, what I want to share with you is the pain of change versus the pain of complacency. So all growth is painful. And it's painful because you're applying effort to resistance. And when I spoke to my brother about this, what I shared was that the beliefs and the person that is holding you back is a living, breathing thing. And in order to progress, in order to grow, you need to kill that living, breathing thing that is holding you back. So it's a painful process. If we think about building muscle, you need to tear the muscle. If we think about the book of Job, Job was placed under all sorts of trials that you could not ever imagine in your own life, because his spirit needed to be torn and stretched and beaten so that growth could take place. If you think about a plant, my brother is busy growing these little chili plants. That plant is placed in darkness. It is placed in earth, cold, wet darkness. And it needs to find its roots. It needs to find its way into the soil. And then what it needs to do is go against gravity. It is to fight against the weight that is pulling it down to breach the top line of soil so that it can reach the light. And what we know, what makes the best soil? Dead things, dead trees, dead insects, dead animals make the best soil. So pain is when you apply effort to resistance. So the resistance is, I don't feel like going to the gym. I don't feel like emailing that person. I don't feel like replying to that message. I don't feel like doing my groceries. I don't feel like updating my utility bill. I don't feel like paying tax. I don't feel like, going to that event that my grandma's having with her friends, whatever it might be. But growth happens when you consciously face that resistance with effort and you face the pain, and that pain will eventually develop a pathway for you. But if we tie this back into why diabetics get stuck, this is exactly why. So we know that effort meeting resistance creates pain, and pain creates a path that produces growth. Now, what medication does is it numbs pain, and people think this is a good thing. They think that when you have a headache and you take a Panado or you take paracetamol or ibuprofen, whatever it is that you take, they think that is a good thing. Oh, it is numbing the pain. I must avoid and run away from pain. But the problem with that is that the root cause of that headache is not drinking enough water. Or maybe it's a tension headache, so you need a massage, or you need to chill out. Or maybe it's an electrolyte headache. Maybe you don't have enough magnesium. So now you're taking this medication that is removing the pain so that you feel good, but you're not solving the root problem. And this breeds complacency. And it breeds a complacency that is just comfortable enough for you to never journey through the valley. It produces a complacency that is just comfortable enough for you to shut up and take your medication for decades, but never actually take a look at your health and ask yourself, what are the long-term side effects here? We know that diabetes is the number one cause of adult blindness. We know that every couple of minutes, a diabetic is amputating a foot, a toe, a hand, or a finger. We know that diabetes is the number one cause, diabetes and hypertension is the number one cause of erectile dysfunction in men. There are all of these long-term side effects that we are not considering. And it's the same thing when it comes to the headache story. You might be spending your entire life taking headache tablets instead of drinking water. And what ends up happening is you become dehydrated. Your brain begins to die. Your body begins to shrivel up. You begin to feel fatigued. And you feel all of these symptoms because you simply aren't drinking water. And you will only ever feel thirsty for that water if I remove medication and say that water is the only way out of this. Then you might begin drinking. Then you might begin applying information that will get you results. But we run into one more problem here, which is when I take medication away from you and you're in the desert, like the Israelites who had to flee Egypt, how exactly do you get to the other side? How exactly do you have faith and trust that water will be enough to get you what you want? And that is where we bump into King Solomon. In the book of Proverbs, he shares, without a vision, the people perish. This is a verse that I live by. Without creating a vision of why you should change your life, you will never change your life. And creating that vision comes with a lot of pain because you need to accept the fact that where you are right now is more painful than you could imagine. You need to press on that pain like it's an open wound. You need to look in the mirror or look at a blank piece of paper with a pen and ask yourself, how painful is it being 30 to 50 pounds overweight? How painful is it struggling to get out of bed every morning because I feel fatigued? How painful is it having my son look at me, 300 pounds, and then look at his basketball coach and be like, why is dad not fit like basketball coach? You have to press on these pains. The pain of amputation, the pain of going to the doctor's office and knowing that you're going to have your left leg cut off, or knowing that your vision is becoming blurred because of diabetes eating away at your retina. You have to sit down with these pains and you have to press on them. And then what you need to do, once you've drawn up the reason for leaving Egypt, which is where you currently are, you then need to construct the promised land. You need to pray and you need to fast. And you need to think, what would my life look like if I gave it all to God? What could my life look like if I gave it all to God? And this is something that I've been doing. So every single morning at 7:40 a.m., I have a reminder on my phone that goes off. And I'm pretty disciplined and religious about this. And I've even instructed my brother and my girlfriend to do the same. And this is something that my father originally introduced to me. It's basically a vision board. I made a few adjustments, being inspired by a few entrepreneurs and authors that I look up to. And what we call this is an alchemy of self. And in this document, what you're going to detail is where you are currently in Egypt, what the story has been so far. Then you're going to share with yourself the Holy Land. What is the dream? What is it like to wake up 30 pounds lighter? What is it like to look in the mirror and see the muscle on your body and be proud and feel strong and feel confident? What is it like to have your wife hug you in the morning and she's like, wow, you're strong, you're handsome. What is it like to play with your kids and to have energy instead of falling on your knees and being like, oh, I need to take a break? What is it like to go to your labs and your doctor says, we can cut your medication in half this week? Or, you don't actually need medication anymore. For this month, I want you to try Stone Cold, going off meds, and we're going to watch your blood sugar closely and we're going to watch your blood pressure closely. So you're going to paint a picture on this document. You can either write it on Microsoft Word or you can create it in Canva for free, or you can write it like on a pen and paper. And you're going to say where you are, what's the journey been so far. Then you're going to say where it is that you're going. And then you're going to write down the things that you're doing every single day and how good it feels and how good those steps feel on the pathway to where it is that you're going. I do this with all of my clients. So imagine this. Imagine your name is Eric. And Eric writes there, I am currently 300 pounds and I've been on metformin for 8 years. I am a father of 2 and I've got one more on the way with my wife. I am a follower of Christ and I attend church every week. And I'm an electrician. And it's important to not put a time frame on this. So now let's say you're 300 pounds. And the goal is I want to be 250 pounds. I want to be in the gym and feeling confident. I want to inspire my wife and kids and lead them and show them what's possible by following God. I want to buy a new pair of clothes and feel like radiant. I want to look like a man. I want to have energy to work overtime as an electrician so I can continue to provide more for my family. I want to have the energy to entertain a conversation with my wife when I get home. I want to be able to sit there at the dinner table and be present and have a lively conversation and tell stories and have jokes and have laughs instead of feeling like I need to get home and get to bed because I'm exhausted. I want to have the energy to break past these excuses that I tell myself I can't stick to a diet, or I can't stick to fasting, or I can't take these supplements in the morning, or I can't make it to the gym because I'm tired and I feel exhausted and I feel like I don't know where to start. So you're going to paint the dream picture of where you want to be and who you want to be. And then after that, I want you to write down the process, the steps, and how good they feel. It feels good to fast for 16 hours. I feel alert. I feel energized. The cravings are gone. The sugar pangs are gone. It feels good to lift weights. Afterwards, I feel strong. I feel energized. I feel fueled with testosterone. It feels good to go to church with energy after a full week. It feels good to work long hours overtime to provide for my family. It feels good to be able to play with my kids because I'm strong and I have endurance and I'm never tired. It feels good to take my supplements every morning because they give me a bit of a boost and they also taste pretty good. It feels good to get good sleep and to wake up with energy, to wake up with purpose, to wake up without brain fog. It feels good to spend time in nature because my legs are no longer sore. I can now stand on my own 2 feet and I can journey, I can hike, I can go camping, I can go to the beach and feel confident. And then set a reminder on your phone for the same time every day, whether it's 7:30 a.m., 8 a.m., or 8:30 a.m. And that reminder is going to tell you, it's going to remind you, it's going to say, Eric, AOS, Alchemy of Self, do it. And look, I used to think this was a bit like manifestation vibes. I used to think it was a little bit like ooh or out there. But when I read Proverbs and I learned that without a vision the people perish, and King Solomon reflected on a vision every single day, I realized that it was biblical. And so many Christians are only relying on prayer and fasting. They're not relying on goal setting. They're not relying on belief setting, changing who you are. And I feel like that goes against Jesus because the life that you were born into is what God gave you. But the life that you can create for yourself is the gift that Jesus gives you because Jesus is God in the flesh and he shows you what's possible for your life as a human as long as you follow him. You have the ability to customize your character, become any man that you wish to be. You have the ability to reverse medication. You have the ability to pack on muscle. You have the ability to lose the fat that you want to lose. You have the ability to go to your labs, go to your doctor and say, you know what, I'm going to change today. I need you to watch my blood sugar, my blood pressure, and my HbA1c, and we are going to be medication free in less than 6 months. You have the ability to lead your family. You have the ability to lead your wife. You have the ability to be an inspiring figure at your church, and you have the ability to work like a man to provide for your family. Thank you so much for making me a part of your day. You stay blessed on your journey. Take action on this, and I really hope that this can change at least one life. God bless you, and bye for now.